Good morning from Arkansas. It appears to be a start of a pretty wonderful day. I've been wanting to keep things moving inside, but when I get a day that it's supposed to get up into the mid-60s, I really want to be outside working. So for today, I'm going to catch up on a couple of outside projects, or at least be working on them, one of which will be putting in my first raised bed planter box. And this isn't something that's real pretty, but it's solid aluminum, so it's going to last longer than I am. It'll essentially be here forever for my kids to enjoy later and for me to grow some nice veggies in the meantime. The aluminum here that I'm using was actually decking from a project that I did replacing decking on some docks a couple of years back. They're actually 3/4 of an inch thick, and they're made to be supported every 18 or 16 inches or 2 feet, I believe. So they don't have a lot of support alone. So what I did is I had my son-in-law come and help me weld them back to back to where now they're 1.5 inches thick, and they're actually very stable. If I put a board underneath each end and stand in the center, it only deflects about 1/4 of an inch. So I've got something that I think will be in really good shape and useful for forever. I'm fastening them together with stainless steel screws. I left them flat and didn't do any welding putting them together because I wanted them to be easy to transport. I've got enough material that I can make probably 10 of them that I will scatter out both behind the camera and across the hillside here, but the one thing I need to do is make sure that I've got plenty of room to be able to get my tractor here in between them to help haul dirt and that sort of stuff. So I'll be laying them out as I go. This one will be probably the only one I do this year. The total of 10 will probably be more like a 3 to 5 year plan, something like that. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and assemble this first one. I've already started. Well, I've got that one set. It's level all around. You can probably see this ground is pretty muddy, and the more I'm working it, the ground is starting to pump, and I think if I got in here more than once or twice with the tractor, I probably wouldn't get back out. So I'm going to call it good for now. It's really too wet for me to be able to do any breaking up this topsoil and grading it. So I think that's all I'm going to do for at least for tonight. I'm just about out of sunlight. Tomorrow I'll probably come in and go ahead and put in the chicken wire in the bottom and the fabric over the top of that. And at that point I'll probably just leave it until it dries up down here to where I can keep working with the tractor. I may do a little more hand work, but that's about all I can do. Well, I'm back. It's the day after Valentine's Day today. And it's so warm that I want to shave off my beard, but typically it's kind of a special thing that I do. I grew it for the very first time starting in 1986 with a hunting buddy. We did it all the way through hunting season or until we were successful, and it ended up I wasn't successful that year. But I had a daughter on the way. My oldest daughter was born on February 17th, 1987. And I decided, since I didn't want to scare her looking up at somebody that looked more like a Sasquatch than a human being, I would shave that morning. So on the morning of February 17th, I shaved. And I decided that February 17th is really a pretty decent time of year to get rid of the beard. So I've historically shaved my beard off on February 17th every single year since then. So I've got the beard for 2 more days, and you'll know it's after the 17th when you see me with a bare face. I've got the garden box set yesterday, and you saw as much as I did. I'm not able to get a piece of equipment on this lower part of the hill. It's sinking in too doggone deep. I'd probably get stuck because it is wet. I am going to bring in some topsoil later this morning. I have to go pick up a truckload. I have some topsoil that I'm going to strip on the north side of the barn, but I'm not ready to do that until I'm ready to put in my parking area, which will take several days and maybe a week for me to do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and buy some topsoil. But to keep the weeds and grass from coming up through the bottom of this, I'm going to make it so doggone confusing that weeds and rodents won't know which direction to go. I'm going to start out with some chicken wire, and I had some of that already. I had some 3-foot wide stuff that I actually just found this morning. And then something that I had was some of the green snow fence that I'm going to put over the top of that. I don't know how long the chicken wire would end up lasting. It's galvanized, but I know even galvanized when it's wet will eventually rot out. But I wanted something to be able to keep the big rodents out, armadillos and that sort of thing. So I'm putting the plastic mesh over the top of that, and then I'll go ahead and put in a weed fabric and then cardboard over top of that. So first thing I got to do is level things up a bit. I have a part of a bag of sand that I want to use up and be able to throw away the bag. So I'm going to scatter a little bit of sand on top of this just to keep the wind from picking up the cardboard and blowing it away. Well, I got the topsoil. It's pretty wet and heavy. Unfortunately, I can't get it down here where the camera is sitting because this has just turned into a real mud hole here. I'd never get back out. So what I'm trying to do is load up just one corner of the bucket at a time. Either that or I'd end up shoveling out an entire bucket full. So if I do a corner of a bucket at a time, I can pretty much dump it right there and then do a little bit of shoveling once it's in place. That's the way I'm after it. We are supposed to have some rain coming in tomorrow, so I want to try to get finished with unloading. Like I say, I'll bring down a couple more buckets and then call this good for now. I am going to go to a cattle farm or cattle ranch and get a load of manure on Saturday morning, so I'll probably spread a couple inches of that in the top of this. I got a big bag of perlite. I'll mix some of that in, and then I got some of the wood chips that I've been making too. So I'll mix this up into some good garden soil yet, but it's not going to finish today. It is obviously after February 17th because no more beard. It feels good to have air hitting my face again. Well, I'm just about finished here. There's 10 inches of topsoil in the garden box. On top of that, I added one 5-gallon bucket of perlite, a wheelbarrow full of wood chips, and 2 wheelbarrows full of some composted cow manure. Now I got to stir it in a little bit. I'm a real meat and potato sort of guy, so eventually, probably early May, I'll go ahead and plant some potatoes in here. But I can get in an early crop first, which is probably going to be spinach and peas. And I'll probably plant those in a week or two. The one thing that I am a little concerned about, though, is that the topsoil that I got was stripped out of an old hay field, so there's a lot of grass roots mixed in with it. What I'm going to do is go ahead and cover it in black plastic, and hopefully that'll heat up the soil, get the grass and weeds germinating to where I can pull them before I actually start planting anything. So that's the one thing I have left to do. Thanks for being with me. I'll go ahead and keep the camera going if you'd like to watch. See you on the next episode.